if you don't find a mentor, find your people them, because you're gonna need it. I think if I had to think about what I would tell me probably at the beginning of the PhD, 5 things that I would have wanted to know as a first year PhD, now being at the end or beginning the last year of my PhD. I would tell myself, okay, first year me had the sensation that like, yeah, community will be important, like intellectually, finding Black women in occupying spaces within academia will be important, or like peers. But I already knew it was also going to be hard on me, like mentally, being a Black woman. So the thing is, like, it feels like you've got so much time, but really, you don't have a lot of time. It's what, minimum 3 years? It's not a lot of time. Like, the first year comes and goes. The first year is the first semester, then it's the second semester, then it's the third semester, then the summer. All right. You're entering into the second year, which is your data collection. That's you doing the main portion of the PhD, right? That's going to come and go quickly because you're in the fun stage. You're no longer sat in your library trying to understand necropolitics and how to apply it and what's a conceptual framework. You're no longer asking those questions. You're doing it's playtime. The second year comes and you're in it. You are data collecting, or like at least in my case, my second year was practical. I know some people who, for example, are doing archival research. It's you're in the second year. Now you're doing everything you said, everything you came here to do. You're doing, right. So you're in the thick of it, and then first semester, and then also you're going to be experiencing different like hiccups along the way, right? So you also have to factor in that and the ups and downs of those, and feeling discouraged or feeling set back, and then like, okay, now that you've got the green light, now you can like keep going. Or if you're doing like experiments, it's also the ebbs and flows of the experiments, what works, what doesn't, and then if you're stuck on something and you don't know what's holding you back, what's keeping you stagnant, what like part of the equation, I don't know how it works, but or what like chemical, right? It's the ebbs and flows, and then it's also the ebbs and flows of your life. Like if you're traveling, or if like friends are getting married, or friends are having babies, or your family members, like things are going on in your life as well, or you're in a relationship, or you come out of a relationship, like all of those things play a factor into all that time that's going by, right? And you're in the thick of it. You're in the thick of it. Were there any was there any moment where I was like, oh yeah, I should like connect with, I should like be intentional about like reaching out for like mentorship, or like, if that's not something that you feel like you get from your supervisors, which is not always the case, or if for whatever reason, I think it's so important to seek out mentorship. And I'm not saying that from a place of, yeah, I went and did it. I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to myself. It's so important to have it's important to have that. I've had it in different moments where I've shared like moments with some of my friends who are older and who are Black women within the academy. And those moments are always like very encouraging. But I think there's also like the understanding that we're all kind of strapped for time and energy resources as academics. We're usually juggling a lot, and academia does not pay well. So you're often you're so often people around you are juggling multiple roles and speaking engagements, and trying to write for this grant, or applying to this, or trying to get this publication approved. So, but I will say, find your people them. Find If you don't find a mentor, find your people them, um, because you're gonna need it. But you're gonna be okay. But you're gonna need it. So I think that would be like my first. If I that should even take two. That's how important it is. That's my number one, and that's my number two. Number three is you're here for a reason. You're here for a reason. You are here for a reason. You are here for a what? A reason. Cool. Moving on to number four. I would say that I would say don't have expectations about how it's going to go. Everyone thinks that they're going to complete it in 3 years. Don't assume that's going to happen. You may submit your ethics form on time. You may, or there might be hiccups with the upgrade, or you may have a life circumstance happen and need to take some time off. Your mental health might be in the gutter. You can't you can't always accurately predict what will happen, and thus have the tools in place for those things. And I think being flexible is super important. Being flexible to that reality, being flexible to whatever, and it not being something you then internalize as a you problem or a you issue, because that's another thing with the PhD. It is a very solitary journey. It is a very isolating journey. It is really just you in this tunnel, and sometimes your supervisors, they might peek their head in sometimes, but it's really you. And especially if you don't have the community point that I mentioned in point number one kind of checked out. We gonna be all right. So I would say, what was I even speaking about? What was I even saying? Why was I even contemplating on my woes for that moment? What was I saying? You think it's gonna go a certain way. You think it's gonna go a certain way, and I would say that flexibility and that openness to it not, or it going in a direction that's unexpected, that you be just as open to that. Everything along this journey is going to teach you something. So you might as well welcome it with open. Don't fight it. Know that it has a place. You may not see it right now. You may see it in a week's moment, or in 2 weeks, or post the PhD. Who knows? But yeah, don't fight it. Be open. Be flexible to the timing, but be disciplined. Which takes me to my next point. Discipline. Yeah. Yeah, discipline is important. People think that doing a PhD is because you're super smart. You are super smart. But it's really also mainly because you have an idea and you're curious about it. So this topic needs to be something you have the discipline to stay curious about for 3+ years. You have to have the muscle, not to just do the work when you're motivated. Not me not taking my own advice. So yeah, it being a topic. The thing is, okay, I have a fraught relationship with my PhD right now because it's dragging me through the mud, and me having to do my own internalized work and my own kind of self journey is very much entangled, more than I expected. It's got your girl, you know, fighting for her life. Um, but I love my topic. I think it's important. I think it's necessary. Whether it was me who did this work or someone else, I knew it was going to be done. Having the discipline to stay curious about your research topic, as well as picking a topic that you are curious about. This is my longest term relationship. One thing about me and my PhD, we were locked in. So, and then I would also probably say the final thing for me is that, okay, the final thing for me, the final thing is document your PhD. Because this is what I'm doing right now. I'm documenting this process. Document it, whether that's something that you want to do in a more private way, or whether that's something you do on social media. And I think why I advocate for sharing online, speaking to the isolation that comes with the PhD process. A lot of my closest friends are in a completely different continent from me. So, but even living inside the same city is giving, they're like an arrow is giving another continent away. But I also recognize the culture that I live in, and just the times, and how there is in this we don't all have the same availability. And whilst yes, be proactive about meeting that need, because it is a need. Finding community online is all like, it's, again, it's the times, but also being realistic about what's accessible to you at given time, and also your capacity as well. So archive your journey, archive you fundamentally, and how you're going to evolve, how you're going to grow, the ebbs and flows. Because this is, hold on a second. Give me just 1 second and I'll be alright. So, thank you for tuning in with me and some insights into being a Black woman in academia. I hope that this serves you in some regards if you searched up, or if this is your second, third time here. Appreciate it. Welcome again to the page. If you have any questions, post them below, and I will see you next time.